You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Andrea Lutz. Ahead tonight, one of the Montana legislature's top priorities this week is drafting the state's budget. And tonight we look at the importance of the Department of Corrections in that budget. Plus, the Butte commissioner wants to transform the city into a tourist hub, but it might end up costing you on your next hotel stay. We're going to tell you what he plans on doing coming up. But first, we begin with a bill in the Montana legislature that would abolish the death penalty in Montana. Lawmakers heard testimony today on House Bill 350. It is sponsored by Republican Mike Hopkins of Missoula. The measure would replace the death penalty with a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Groups like the Montana Innocence Project and the ACLU support the bill, saying the innocent people could end up on death row. They argue the death penalty unfairly affects those in a certain ethnic and economic background.
A person's chance of being executed goes up if they are not white, not wealthy, or not mentally sound. As I've said before in this committee, the only way to guarantee a fair system that does not put innocent people to death is to abolish capital punishment completely.
But opponents say the state already has the ability to sentence murderers to life in prison without parole. Some testified the only way to keep murderers from continuing to kill is through the death penalty. This week, legislative budget panels are wrapping up their first draft of the state's $10 billion two-year budget. And the Corrections Department has one of the largest pieces of the pie. But as MTN's Mike Dennison reports, lawmakers are looking at the bigger picture as well.
The State Corrections Department had a nearly $4 million cost overrun this year and asked for another 3.5% increase over the next 2 years. But a joint appropriations subcommittee examining its budget voted Monday to keep the biennial increase at 1.6%. Panel Chairman Matt Regier, a Republican state representative from Kalispell, said lawmakers hope criminal justice reform passed in 2017 will start showing savings in corrections.
It is an increase, not near the increase that was asked for. It's more in line with an inflationary increase. Yeah.
The panel also scaled back by almost one-third the $12.5 million increase requested by the Office of Public Defender, whose budget has been steadily growing since its inception a dozen years ago. Here again, lawmakers expect sentencing reforms could help slow this budget growth.
Once those bills start taking effect, it takes a little while for those to go, but the hope is then that ripple effect will hit out even to OPD and save in the future caseload growth.
The longer discussion on this item Monday was whether cities and counties should pay more to support public defenders. Senator Ryan Osmundson of Buffalo said local governments sometimes pass and enforce laws leading to more criminal cases.
There are some challenges that we have with ordinances being passed by local cities that are costing the state, and all stakeholders do need to have, as they say, skin in the game, so that all stakeholders are trying to watch the costs.
The committee requested a bill that could change local contributions, but members said the bill may just ask for a study of the issue that reports back to the 2021 legislature. The panel also approved state funding for drug treatment courts in Helena and Polson. But this is just the first step in crafting the budget. The huge public health budget has its first votes on Tuesday, and we'll have more details on the overall plan later this week. At the Capitol, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, and these initial subcommittee recommendations go to the full House Appropriations Committee for a vote. That's going to happen next month. Your next hotel room might end up costing a little bit more in the mining city. Butte's hoping to add a $1 bed tax to local hotels. As MTN's John Amy explains, this extra money might entice a new airliner to take a look at Butte.
Butte Chief Executive Dave Palmer believes the Burt Mooney Airport in Butte needs more than just one flight.
We have a lot of leakage going to Bozeman. A lot of people go to Bozeman to get better connections or maybe a cheaper thing.
And the mining city needs revenue to entice an airline to consider bringing a flight to Butte. Palmer believes the revenue could be generated by adding $1 to Butte's bed tax, which is paid by people staying at hotels and motels.
The dollar that they're currently collecting is about $265,000 a year. So if we could double that and to go to $2, it's just more money that you could set aside for that revenue guarantee.
The airport is currently in negotiations with United Airlines to get a connection out of Denver. The revenue guarantee is money that airline could use if ticket sales are low.
If they're under, they will take some of that money out of that revenue guarantee pot. If you're over, that stays there and you don't spend anything.
Economic leaders believe having an extra flight at this airport would make Butte more appealing to businesses that are considering relocating here.
The larger businesses that are looking to relocate around the country, they look at the access into the area, you know, and we're at a great advantage with the crossroads of I-15 and I-90, but they look at, you know, these corporations want to be able to fly in and fly out.
And the more flights, the better. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
The Butte Council of Commissioners will ultimately decide if a bed tax should be added. Of course, we'll let you know what happens. In Bozeman, the Gallatin County Commissioners will consider settling a lawsuit that dates back over a decade. The lawsuit was filed by the county back in 2007 over who owns a portion of Bear Canyon Road. The state says they own the road. However, the county said it was theirs, and they filed a suit after the Forest Service made Bear Canyon Road impassable for those wanting to access some trails. Commissioners say it's crucial for the county to gain access to those trails.
And we're hoping that this will verify that we can continue to use it as a trail. There may be some motorized access that's allowed on that trail, as well as maintaining the public access to that area.
Even when the lawsuit is settled, the county filed a second lawsuit against the Forest Service for the condition of that road. All right, well, those at Montana Raceway Park in Kalispell say someone vandalized their race facility, and now they're asking for the public's help in finding whoever did it. The park's scoreboard cords were weakened and locks at the main gate were cut. The sheriff's office says the act was malicious, and Montana Raceway Park hosts races and monster truck rallies during the summertime. The general manager says it happened on February 5th.
It's Kalispell, Montana. It's a flathead valley. This sort of thing has never really happened. To the racetrack.
Anyone who saw anything is asked to come forward with information for police, and they are offering a $2,500 reward. Despite the snow and cold, fire mitigation experts say now is the time to prep your property for wildfires. As fire mitigation season kicks off, here's some helpful hacks to ensure that you and your family are safe. First, develop an evacuation plan for your entire family in mind, and designate an emergency meeting location with several escape routes, and also plan for your pets and livestock. Planning includes outside of your home. Identify what areas need trimming or thinning as the snow melts.
I mean, it's no secret. Fires are getting bigger, hotter. The fire season itself is longer. And there's a lot more structures at risk. There's been a lot of building going on around the state of Montana, and much of that is in the wildland-urban interface.
Fire Safe Montana says now is the time for homeowner associations to start developing vegetation management and evacuation plans. Also on fire safety, space heaters are likely coming out this time of year, but with that, a word of caution from firefighters. Those with the Billings Fire Department say space heaters are the leading cause of home heating fire deaths. So here are some safety hacks to keep in mind. Of course, keep your space heater at least 3 feet away from flammable furniture, clothing, or bedding. Be sure that your space heater is working properly to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. And last, keep an eye out on your pipes because they often tend to freeze in these sub-zero temperatures. Here in Montana, there's been more than 3,000 cases of flu this season. One of the places that you're most likely to catch the flu is at work. MTN's Emma Hamilton has the story.
Flu germs linger just about everywhere during flu season, and the workplace is one of the #1 places you can catch the flu. Think about the amount of germs you and your coworkers bring in from outside, and even the germs that are already on shared surfaces.
Make sure that the people you have cleaning your organization focus on high-touch surfaces. So our high-touch surfaces are door handles, our light switches, and then phones, keyboards, mouses, anything electronic, and anything that has a lot of nooks and crannies, if you will. They're a little bit harder to clean, so we really want to focus our energy on cleaning those with something that has a high kill rate, specifically will kill flu virus.
Germs that cause the flu can sit on surfaces for up to a week, so it is best to be wiping your surfaces at least weekly. The flu can be transmitted directly person to person or by touch surfaces. When having a conversation, it's best to take a step back to prevent catching the flu from the other person, because even here, we're too close. Encouraging your staff to get the flu shot and simply washing your hands frequently can prevent your chances of catching the flu this season.
So if people see it, they think to do it. If they don't see it, then they forget. So we do remember when we get up to go to the bathroom, and sometimes it's on our mind right before we go to the lunchroom, but there's other opportunities throughout the day. So
reporting in Bozeman, Emma Hamilton, MTN News.
And lots of hand sanitizer. You saw that in her hand there. Also a reminder from health professionals, they say it's not too late to get your flu shot. Well, still to come on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news, planning a move to Bozeman. It is nearly impossible to find a place to live, and if you do, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. So we're going to tell you why none of that seems to matter to future Bosemanites as the city continues to grow. And right after the break, Bob McGuire tells us about some cold weather that's probably coming your way. So stick around. We'll be right back.